What in your role makes the company money? What in your role saves the company cost? And what in your role overcomes risk?
Roger Lawrence, so good to have you with me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I understand you're a CIO extraordinaire, and one of the things that you've talked to me about before is this idea of a Sunday Monday problem and building agility within teams. I'm just hoping that you can elaborate on that and why it's important in modern technology.
Yeah, thanks. CTO, by the way.
CTO,
Yeah,
sorry,
not
Chief
CIO.
Technology Officer.
Yeah. So the Sunday Monday problem, quite simply put, is prior to probably the launch of the iPhone, certainly the 2000s, people, individual experience of technology was better at work than it was at home. And then since the consumerization of mobile and cloud and everything else, technology at home now is often a lot better than it is in the office. And there's a challenge and an opportunity with that. The challenge is, how do you build agility? How do you overcome the very real responsibilities that you have to architectural governance, to ensuring that you don't build tech debt so that your technology is growing, to cybersecurity. We've seen some of the largest organizations just in the last year have suffered cybersecurity. At the same time, in the last year, we've seen this massive adoption of generative AI, which Sam Altman is betting with other colleagues of his what is going to be the first billion-dollar solo entrepreneur organization. When you think about the organization that I most recently worked with, their annual revenue is about $2.8 billion. And there wasn't one person, it was close to 2,500 people. So how do we overcome the fact that everybody at home has got access to this amazing technology and amazing tools, and then they come to work and they've got to use the CRM system, or they've got to use their laptops, they can't plug a USB drive into their laptops, or they can't access their Gmail or whatever. And the opportunity, of course, is that we have got this technology. And so to build agility, I think my experience is that if you look at any solution, and I'm going to call it solution, I'm not going to call it technology solution, I'm going to call it business solution. There are people, there's process, and then there's technology. The process is largely unmapped, in my experience. The process is often just known by people. And also, it is informed by the systems that have been deployed. And so that's your biggest constraint. So to overcome that, you need to build strong relationships, have entrepreneurial people in your team, people who understand what it is to take initiative, to be resourceful, to have strong networks, to really understand the business so they are respected by the business. And then to also have the technology knowledge so that they can do that art of the possible and they can sell the vision. And one of the questions that I like to ask the people when I'm interviewing for my team is, what in your role makes the company money? What in your role saves the company cost? And what in your role overcomes risk? Because if they can articulate that, I can send somebody to Redmond for 6 months and skill them up on technology. Mm-hmm. But what I can't do is I can't skill people up on that really intimate understanding of what their role is.
You mentioned something interesting with the innovation team. I play poker with a guy who works for one of the large banks, and he said that he's in startup enablement. And I thought that meant he was in the financial advice side of enabling the startup community. No, he heads up a team that does innovations, starts up their own companies within the bank with the intention of scaling it out within the brand. He's an incredibly charismatic guy who you'd think would be attracted to his own business. How do we attract those sort of people to organizations and enable them to have that startup mentality in what's a big corporate machine?
You pay them more. No.
Got that on camera.
Absolutely. It's interesting. That startup enablement, that mind of the entrepreneur, is often it is, you know, it is driven financially. There are definitely people that are driven by that. But the question is, do you want a mercenary or do you want a missionary?
What's
and
the
I
difference?
would argue, well, a mercenary just does something for money, right?
Yeah.
You know, your large consulting organizations will absolutely come in and do your strategy for you, or outsource your IT for you, or do your transformation for you. But their purpose is not your purpose. Their purpose is not, you know, the last company I worked for would provide world-class energy to Australia, right? Their purpose is to arbitrage their staff so that they can do a digital transformation, right? Mercenary, you know, send them in, pay them money, get the outcome. Missionary, on the other hand, often very poorly paid, at least until, you know, that they get the benefits that are out of this world, but a real sense of purpose. Once you've got that real sense of purpose, then you can start being resourceful. You know, if you think about where innovation happens, innovation doesn't happen in organizations where you have lots of resources and money. Innovation happens where, you know, if you look at a map of, there's a great TED talk I saw where the guy showed, you know, that map of the NASA map of the world at night, right? And he pointed to Africa, you know, where there was no light, practically no light apart from South Africa. And he said, you know what, where innovation's happening? Innovation's happening there. Where there's no electricity, there's no light, there's no power, right? You're getting 14-year-old boys who are coming up with wind-powered, you know, generators so that they can charge phones, so that they can do their homework, right? That's where innovation happens. But innovation doesn't happen like that if you don't have that sense of purpose. So that's the attract. It's got to be a big, gnarly problem that nobody else can solve, and then you get the best talent.
So what it sounds like that you're saying is just simply funding innovation more. You can't expect to deliver better innovation outcomes.
No, I'm saying the opposite.
Oh, really? I thought you were saying that, so where there was no money, people are finding ways around it to innovate. So
Correct.
I must have misunderstood it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So if you fund innovation more, so we're talking two things. So do you need to fund innovation more? Yes. But do you need more funds to attract the right talent?
Right.
No.
Yeah. There's a difference between that.
Yeah.
And then what's the process of selling change to the rest of the organization? Because that's probably the next step. So we've got these highly capable people. We're solving maybe problems going out, finding them from business, but there's still that change management. You highlight that the people part is critical, and I'd argue it's not just the people in the team, it's the people throughout the organization.
It is absolutely the people throughout the organization. There's this common misconception, I think, and it's driven through, 200 years of enterprise organizations, or 400 years of enterprise organizations, of specialism, specialty. But the whole definition of a company is it's a company of people achieving an outcome. And so, when I, early in my career, I worked for Nokia Telecommunications in the UK. And they put in place one of the best programs that I've ever seen. They put up a prize. So there were suggestion boxes. This is before we actually had networked computers or networked PCs. So there's suggestion boxes, and you could put in a suggestion for an innovation. And it could be a process innovation. It could be an innovation on, a mobile phone, put the power button on the other side so people can reach it with their left thumb or whatever. It could be manufacturing. It could be around technology. And if that idea was adopted, you basically got a month's salary bonus, right? Just an extra. It was like a 13th check. And that drove so much innovation because, of course, the people who are working at the coalface know what's not working and what is working, right? So the question then is, how do you gather that intelligence and how do you drive that intelligence? And that's where the innovation team comes in. The innovation team isn't there to innovate. The innovation team is there to enable the business to innovate. And that's different. That's a very different thing. To be able to come in and to enable the funding, to enable to overcome the corporate antibodies, to enable the process, to empower people with the technology. One of the things that I was looking for in my team was that being an enabler, being the person who comes in, and if the Teams room isn't working, the meeting room isn't working, then you fix it. You don't call IT to fix it, right? If the CIOs or the CFO is having a problem with designing their PowerPoint slides for the annual meeting, then the designer in my team would just go and help, right? And when you have that you start with that, you always are enabling people, you're always helping people, then you just build that culture of people wanting to enable and to help each other, right? And then that's how you enable innovation.